हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम वांग मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाच प्रतिष्ठितम् अविरावीर्मये देवेदस्य मानिस्तं श्रुतं मे मा प्रहसीरनेनादितेन अहोरात्रं समददानि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु मक्तारम् अवतु वक्तारम्। ओम शांति शांति शांति। This is the beautiful mantra. May the words I speak be established in my mind. Let there be harmony, let there be synchronization, and what I think, let me speak. And whatever is in my mind, let it be in the intelligence, let it be in the intellect, and then let the intellect be established in the self-illuminating Atma. O Supreme Lord, you express yourself through me. This is the beautiful mantra, so that let us be very conscious, let us be aware and be aware of what we are speaking, what we are thinking, and what is in our heart. Because the supreme truth is very much established in us only. ओम कल्याण द्विगात्रय कंतत्त प्रदाने श्रीमद् वेंकटनाथाय श्रीनिवासाय ते नमः। पूज्याय राघवेन्द्राय सत्यधर्मर्ताय च भक्तां कल्पवृक्षान्तां कामधेनवे। ओम संन्यासकृते नमः। ओम salutations to the Supreme Lord who has instituted this fourth state of the path for renunciation, for the path of liberation. That is the sannyas, the path of liberation, the path of renunciation, the sannyas mark, the path of supreme truth, the path of the ascetics. Sannyas is the highest state that a human being can attain while living in the body. Sannyas means satnyas, the true path, the path of truth. What is the truth? What all changes with time and place and situations? What has got a beginning and what has got an end, what undergoes changes, that is not the truth. What is eternal, changeless, fearless, deathless, which doesn't undergo any change, which is always there, that is the truth. In this context, we are very clear, we understand that our body is the untruth, body is asat. It continuously changes, it has got a beginning, it has got an end, and our mind is the untruth because mind is constantly changing, and all these are not the untruth. And anything, any of our action, anything of our belief, if we base it on, if it is based on our body and mind, they do not have subsistence, they disappear, they are the untruth. That means we are establishing ourselves on the untruth. But what is the supreme truth is the Atma, the Paramatma, the changeless, deathless, fearless spirit, the vital force and the consciousness combination which only gives joy and bliss. That is the only truth. So the person who realizes this and lives according to this knowledge becomes a sannyasi. So sannyasism happening, it is not becoming or it is not being taking a training to become a sannyasi. It is not, there is no preparation for becoming a sannyasi. We cannot say next year I will become a sannyasi. The sannyasi is happening. It is just like lightning appear in the sky. The Supreme Self grants to his devotees the highest position, the sannyas mark, the path of Satnyas, the path of Supreme Truth. One who takes this path is the sannyasi, the ascetic, one who is on the path of Supreme Truth. He is fearless. He doesn't seek anything from anybody. He is not dependent on any body or his mind. They are only the means for which he does not base any of his judgments. The supreme truth is that we are not the body and we are not the mind. We are the self, we are the changeless, deathless, fearless spirit, the one and the only self which is in all beings. So the ascetic sannyasi called Swami, so is only a Swami who becomes a sannyasi becomes a Swami. Swami means supreme freedom, and one who is free and liberated. A person with family, with children, with attached to them, and with the world of property, with the world of followers, with the ashram, with the land, and with all this, that cannot become a sannyasi. He is not a sannyasi. A sannyasi is unattached. He just lives by himself for the welfare of the world at large. The first step to become sannyasi is to be selfless. There is no selfishness in a sannyasi. So he becomes a Swami. The ascetic sannyasi called Swami is free and liberated. He has no attachment to his own body. How can he have the attachment to the other bodies? And he has no attachment to the mind, because his mind is the world and world is the mind, and he has no attachment to his own mind. So he has no attachment to any name or fame or achievements or anything of this world, of transient world. He has no desires, because all the desires is only for this garbage of this world, and he has realized there is nothing to be attained, there is nothing to be achieved, because this realization of the self, Atma, is the highest state, where all the time and space are included in that, where there is total supreme freedom. So the Swami has no desire. The moment he has a desire, he has to go in search of the desired objects, then he will become a slave. His main vocation is supreme knowledge. He goes on realizing, he goes on as he wanders, because he is not attached to one place. He goes on seeing. As he moves on, he acquires this knowledge of the everything that he comes across. He has realized the self and is one with the Supreme Self. He is one with the Supreme Lord, who is the Parame, who is identified with the universe itself. So a Swami is not attached to his body, not attached to the mind, not attached to his any particular place. He is a Aniketan, and he is identified with the whole universe itself. He has realized the self and is one with the Supreme Self. He has no other. There is no duality. There is no difference. There is no discrimination, because the Swami, the sannyasi, considers everything as himself, because there is nothing other than himself. He has no other for him. All is same. The same, sama, is for him. He sings samagana. The Samaveda songs are inherent in all his actions and in all his deeds and in all his speeches. They are supremely sweet, because there is no sense of selfishness. There is only sense of joy, and there is only flow of divine energy and bliss in his speech. The song of oneness, the unity of existence. This sannyas is the happening by the grace of the Supreme Lord. It is not becoming, but it is being. It is realizing and being in our own true nature. Our true nature is the nature of self. It is not very difficult. We don't have to struggle and we have to do any sadhana or anything. Just drop it. Just by dropping everything, by dropping attachment to our body, just by dropping attachment to our mind, just by dropping to this world, which anyway drops by itself, we are free, we become the Swami, and it is realizing our own self, that is the freedom. That is the joy and that is the bliss. That is the non-attachment. So realizing our true nature is the sannyas. Collecting all the garbage and carrying in our mind and our body and in on our head is the path of this world, is to be in this world, is to be a man of the world. So the man of the world is a man of the garbage, because all these things become garbage in the course of time, and a Swami is one who is not attached, who continues to do the work that is for the meant for the welfare of the whole world, and does not acquire anything, is not attached to anything. So it is being in the true path, the sannyas. We cannot plan to become sannyasis. We cannot think that after educating our children, that after marrying off our daughters, after amassing certain amount of wealth, after acquiring the land and the followers, I will become a sannyasi. So this is only acquisition of wealth, acquisition of name, acquisition of nothing but the bondage. So we cannot take to sannyas, we cannot become a free person with attachment, bound by in all directions, bound by society, bound by attractions, bound by desires. So getting rid of all these bondages is the sannyas. This sannyas is living in the path of truth. It is being non-attached to anything. Only when we are not attached to anything, only when we are able to see things as they are, without any preconceived notions, without any prejudices, without a sense of mind, without a sense of likes and dislikes, we get the equanimous vision. We get the vision of truth only when we are not attached, only when we are not colored, only when our eyes are freed from all the desires and feelings. Our eyes acquire a sense of quality that is able to see things as they are. Otherwise, our eyes are always filled with our feelings of lust, greed, anger, attachment, ego, ignorance, and obsessions. So, it is being non-attached to anything that is seen, heard, tasted, touched, and experienced and thought of. It is being a cloud in the sky, moving in any direction, moving anywhere as the wind blows. The sannyasi, the monk, doesn't have any programs for tomorrow. He is like a wind being blown. And the sannyasi goes wherever he is required, wherever people ask him, request him to come for their help. It is being kind, being helpful, without expecting anything in return. It is nothing but emulating the great elements, air, water, fire, earth and space, which are there at the service, at the Supreme Lord, at the service of the humanity, which do not harm anything, and without gaining any, expecting or gaining any sort of priority or any sense of doership. It is being sensitive and alive. It is following, because the sannyasi is totally conscious. His conscience is very, very clear, very, very crystal clear. He does not do anything, he does not speak anything, he does not indulge in anything that is against the truth and that is against the facts, that is against the truth. So, the conscience is a personification, it is like a clear water, it gets tainted. Our conscience becomes colored, muddy, because of the desires, because of our evil and wrong thinking and actions. So it is following the supreme truth that we are the deathless and changeless and fearless spirit. Then only we realizing that self-nature, realizing that we are the Atma, not the body and the mind, that we can speak fearlessly, act fearlessly, not attached to any results, and not expecting anything, that we can adopt the path of truth. We are not a person but a power. It is being won by total surrender and supreme devotion to the all-pervading Supreme Spirit Sri Narayana. When we are identified with the Supreme Lord, who is the creator of this universe, who is the supporter of the universe, and who absorbs everything unto himself and who guides everything, we have no sense of mind, we have no sense of doership. The ego is totally destroyed. So the path of Sri Hari Marg, the path of sannyas, which happens by the grace of the Supreme Self, it is the path of fearlessness and the path of freedom and liberation. The sannyasi is not afraid of any consequences because he is not attached to body, and he knows once the body is certain to die and the body is certain to undergo all the changes. The sannyasi has nothing to acquire because everything is a burden for him. He moves free, thinks free, acts free, and he does not receive or expect any favors from anybody. He is the aparigraha vratam. He does not expect anything, he doesn't want anything. He is able to speak the truth. The moment he wants something, he has to dance according to the tune of the masters, according to the dictates of the crooks and the prophetess. But a person who doesn't expect anything, who goes on the path of truth, who acts in the interest of all the public welfare, he has nothing to fear. He is a Swami, he is a sannyasi. So it is the path of fearlessness, the path of freedom and liberation. It happens by the grace of the Supreme Being. So the sannyas is not a preparation, is not our being, it is the grace of the Supreme Lord. So if the sannyasi has no relationship, has no connection with the past or the future, he has no tomorrow. Right now the present is the infinite time for him. He has no expectation for tomorrow. What happens tomorrow is there is no anxiety, there is no fear. So when a person becomes an ascetic, he becomes a sannyasi, he abandons, he severes all connection with the past, with his family, with his children, with his friends, with the society. The sannyas vrata is the asceticism, this institutional of sannyas is conducted by the guru, who is another sannyasi, who has identified the true nature of this disciple. So he gives him the sannyas. So the sannyas is not only by his own, by self-nature one is a sannyasi. The institution of sannyas is also given by another sannyasi, by another ascetic. They take the disciple into the middle of the river. They shave off his head. They remove the holy threads and all signs of all the caste, creed and religions. Then they change the name and of that person, and they ask him to wear the ochre robe. Ochre robe is the symbol of non-attachment and light, enlightenment. So he is given a new name. The earlier name given by his family, by the society is removed. He is new to the world, he is a new personality, he is a new person. He has nothing of the past. And he has no caste, he has no creed, he has no religion, he is not attached to any sect. He is a universal human being created by the Supreme Lord, and he is the total devotee of the Supreme Lord, and he is established on the path of truth. So he is the sannyasi, becomes a new personality, a power by himself, a light unto himself and a light unto others. The sannyas is the path of truth, because the truth is the source of all power. He who knows thus in their true light, the divine might, divine birth and action, he knows the Supreme Lord, he has attained supreme knowledge. and having abandoned his body is not born again for Arjuna. So the sannyasi is not born again because while living only, he has severed all the attachment to the body, mind and the society. He has no desires, he has no reason to come back to this earth again. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo vetti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma meti mameti so Arjuna. So there is no rebirth to a sannyasi, and he is established with the self, with the Atma, the changeless, deathless, fearless spirit, the eternal, the confluence of prajna and the prana. Tyaktva karmapala sangam nityatrupto nirashyaha karmanya vipravrito naivat kinchit karoti saha. Having abandoned attachment to the fruits of action, ever content, depending on nothing, he does not do anything though engaged in activity. The sannyasi is not idle. He has not run away from the world. He is just on the path of truth, because it is the energy that acts in spite of ourselves. We cannot keep quiet. Even the sannyasi acts according to the nature of the Supreme Lord, Supreme Energy. He is very ever active, but his actions are not selfish, and it is meant for the welfare of the world. And he is not attached to the actions, the fruits of actions. He does not expect anything. So, nirashri chittatma tektya sarva sangha parigraha sharirat kevalam karma kurvannanopi kilbisham. So without hope and with the mind and the self surrender to the Supreme Lord, having abandoned all the greed, all the desires, doing merely body action, he incurs no sin. He has no attachment. He just does it for the welfare of the public, for the people at large, with pure love and devotion to the Supreme Lord, with pure concern to relieve their sufferings. This is the hallmark of a sannyasi. Sannyasi has won over his sense organs. He has samyam, he has controlled the body organs. He is not indulging in the pleasures of the senses. He has no particular attraction for the things of the world which are nothing but sensations. So he has no attachment, he has no desires, he is very calm, he is very quiet, he is very energetic, he is very active, and he does all good things, and he is very joyful, because all the performance, all the actions of the body organ starts with the pleasure and ends with the pain. So content with what comes to him without effort. Yadrechvillava santushto dvadvavito vimatashreha samah siddhavcha krutvapina nibadyate. Content with what comes to him without effort, free from the pairs of opposites and envy, even-minded in success and failure, though acting he is not bound. The prizes and the abuses does not interest him. Let anybody talk anything. What he thinks right, what he thinks is suitable, he just does it, because he has no desire for the action. But renunciation, O mighty Arjuna, is hard to attain without the yoga. So, this is the most beautiful part. Everybody cannot become a sannyasi. It is not possible. It is not possible to sever the attachment to the body, attachment to the sense organs, the attachment to the sense objects, attachment to the world, attachment to one's family. It is not possible. It is just by effort, by anything, it does not happen. But it is possible step by step. There are 7 steps to sannyas, and the first step is renunciation, selflessness. One cannot be selfish. And without yoga, the realization of the inner with the outer, understanding who we are, what we are, is fundamental to become a sannyasi. Without knowing what is truth, we cannot take the path of truth. So the path of the body, the path of the mind, the path of the body organs, the path of the world, the path of name, fame, wealth, they are all the path of asat, untruth. So the path of the Supreme Lord, the joy and bliss and the knowledge, and without any selfishness, without any colors, without the qualities, that is the path of truth. So the realizing this path is the yoga, the realizing our urges to get rid of all the impurities, to silence our mind, to purify our mind, to purify our body, not to carry any thoughts that disturb us, is the yoga. To be established in pure consciousness, to be in samadhi, to be in the tranquil state, to be in dhyan, that is the yoga. So the yoga harmonized sage quickly goes to Brahman. So dhyan is very, very important. Dhyan is fundamental to yoga, and a sannyasi who does not do dhyan or yoga cannot attain the sannyas. He cannot become a sannyasi because the turbulent senses carry away, they destroy the peace and tranquility, because that is the nature. So only the supreme knowledge and the dhyan, that is the travel of the dhi. Travel of the dhi is our ego, our mind, our intelligence, our power of self, all contained in dhi. And this, when it travels towards the supreme consciousness, that is the dhyan. And the yoga harmonized sage, one who is established in pure consciousness, in pure bliss, he is fit for becoming a sannyasi, realized Brahman. So sannyas is supreme freedom. Sannyas is realization of the self-nature of eternality, that one is changeless and fearless spirit. So all other things, all the paths are meant for the full realization. The realization of the full potential is all the paths, and it culminates in sannyas. He whose understandings are all devoid of desires and selfish purposes, and whose actions have been burnt by the fire of knowledge, him the wise call a sage. He is fit to become a sannyasi. Yasya sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjitaha jnanagni dagda karmanam tamahu panditam buddha. So a person who has no selfish desires, who has no attachments, and whose actions are burned by the fire of knowledge, because he knows what is to be done, and only that person is fit to become a sannyasi. I do nothing at all. Thus would the harmonized knower of truth think. Naive kinchit karma karomiti yukto manyata tattvavit. Pashyam shunvan sparsham jigran ashnan gachan swapam swasan. So it is only the body organs, they are performing their work. I do nothing at all. Thus would the harmonized knower of truth things, seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, going, sleeping, breathing. These are all the natural causes, natural actions. It is the nature that acts. The moment we see, open our eyes, we see. There is no effort involved in this. And our ears goes on hearing the sounds. Our nose smells this smells. Our tongue tastes the taste. Our skin experiences the touches. And all these are natural actions. They are all actions. We cannot simply stop them unless we want to. The only thing is we should be aware of all these things without any attachment. speaking, letting go, seizing, opening and closing the eyes, convinced that the sense moving among the sense objects. So we can control these body sense organs moving among, going after their desired objects. We can close the freedom is ours. We can just close the eyes and forget it. We can close our ears. We need not hear any sound. We need not eat anything to taste it. We can even stop the smell odors coming to our nose by purifying the atmosphere. So the freedom is ours. We cannot, even though the body organs, the sense organs, invariably perform their nature, invariably are involved till the person is alive, he need not be attached, he need not be perturbed, he need not get excited or depressed because of the function of these body organs. So he who does actions offering them to Brahman and abandoning attachment is not tainted by sin, just as a lotus leaf is not tainted by water. So the sage, the fit to become sannyasi, he is observant, he is conscious, he is aware of all the body organs functioning, and he knows it is the Brahman, it is the supreme divine energy with consciousness who is stationed in the body, performing all these actions. So it is the nature that acts. So it is the nature that acts, and the sin doesn't accrue to us. Even though our eyes are seeing unholy acts, even though our nose is smelling, we are tasting, we are eating things which are not agreeable by natural process, because we are in that atmosphere, in that situation, and we cannot absolve ourselves, we cannot abstain ourselves because we are after all a creature of circumstances, it is the society. Because adhishtanam daivatra pravachanam, it is the will of the Lord where we are at, what we are at, and where and when. Tomorrow we do not know where we are and what we will be and what. So it is all the Supreme Lord, and accepting with all grace our situations, experiencing without any attachment, we do not incur sin, because things are not in our control. Our own body organs are not in our control, the external situation is not in our control, nothing is in our control. And in addition to that, if we become slaves, there is a double tragedy. So we have to live non-attached way, but totally aware and totally conscious and not being attached, and totally following the path of truth. This is the only way. He is the sannyasi. So it is the Supreme Lord who takes care of other things, who creates the outer situations, who guides the sannyasi, who guides the devotee for all his total liberation, for total freedom, emulating his own nature. Vidyavinaya sampanne brahmane gavihastini shunichaiva swapeke cha pandita samadarshinaha. Sages look upon with an equal eye on a brahmana endowed with learning, with humility, on a cow or an elephant or even a dog and an outcast. There is no question of discrimination to a sannyasi, to a sage. All are same to him. All are living entities. The cow and the dog and the human being, they are all living entities, they are all the same. Or they all need equal attention and care. The only even the human being is provided with 2 legs and 2 hands resembling the 4 legs of an animal. So a human being is basically an animal. Only difference is vertebra, his backbone is perpendicular to the earth. whereas the vertebra, the backbone, is parallel to the earth for all the animals. So as we bend before others, as we become subservient to others, emulate an animal bending before others, we become really an animal. A true nature of an evolved person, he stands erect, not being subservient, not being a slave, not being obedient for any wrong things to his master. There is no master to another human being other than the Supreme Lord. This we have to realize. My master is only my Supreme Lord. There is no other human being will become my master, because he is also like me. And the moment I bend my head, the moment I bend my head, bend my knees and bend my back before another person, I am becoming animal, contrary to the nature of the self. So we have to be very, very clear. For a sannyasi, all are same. He doesn't, like himself, he doesn't bend before anybody. Even a clod of earth and a bar of gold is same to him. Even a venerable brahmana or a cow, it is the same for him. All are living entities. He treats them all the way they need to be treated. So even here in this world, the birth is overcome by those whose minds rest in equality. So Brahman is spotless indeed and equal, therefore they are established in Brahman. So a sannyasi is established in Brahman while alive. A sannyasi, even though he is having a body, he is like any other human being, he is a Swami, he is a master, he is free, he is not attached, he doesn't seek anything from anybody, he doesn't ask for anything anybody, he has no tension, he has no anxiety, there is no tomorrow, and he is absolute truth, he has no fear of death or injury, he has no fear of losing anything what he has because he doesn't possess anything, and he has no anxiety that something will happen tomorrow because there is no tomorrow at all to a sannyasi. So even in this world itself, he has realized his nature of the self and he has become free. So yahaiva tairjitah sargo yesham samye sthitam manaha nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmad brahmanite. So Brahman is spotless, indeed and equal, therefore they are established in Brahman. So these are all very beautiful, clear indications, directions, and the way. This path of sannyas is not very difficult. All are people who are having ashrams, who are having followers, who are trying to spread their influences. They are all fake. They are not sannyas. They are not honest. They are not truth. It is only the gullible and the ignorant masses are drawn towards them. A sannyasi has no position. A sannyasi is personification of truth and power. If power flows through him, his face indicates the aura. His word becomes the truth. They say the power, all the powers accrue to a true sannyasi. So, a true sannyasi is not after any publicity, not after any followers, and only the true devotees, the true followers who have realized the potential of a true guru, they become close disciples and they are benefited, not the public at large. So, resting in Brahman with steady intellect, undiluted, the knower of Brahman, neither rejoices on obtaining what is pleasant, nor grieves on obtaining what is pleasant. There is no pleasant or unpleasant to a sannyasi. Everything is same. The pain and the pleasures are the same. After all, they are the sensation experienced by the body organs. And the body and mind, they are only an external attachments to the sannyasi. Shutting out all external contact and fixing the gaze in between the eyebrows, equalizing the outgoing and incoming breath, moving within the nostrils. So the sannyasi is at any time able to enter into samadhi. Shuts off all the body organs, going outwards toward the sense objects. Focusing his inner eye in between the eyebrows. Breathing slowly in, holding it for some time, and breathing out slowly and holding it for some time. The slow and deep breath establishes the mind, calms the mind, makes the mind peaceful and tranquil, and the mind becomes clear, settled. Just as the disturbed water, all the impurities are spread in or turbulent in the disturbed water, and now we cannot see anything through this turbulent water. We allow the water to settle. After some time, all the impurities settle and the top layers of the water becomes pure so that we can see through. So we can see through the body of the water and what is inside. So the mind is like water, needs settling down, and when the turbulence of thoughts disappear, the mind settles down. So sparshan krutva bhirbahyan chakshuchaivantre bruha pranapano samo krutva nasabhyadharantras trinao. Prana prano saman krutva. The prana and apana, the breath in and the breath out, we make it equal. They are deep, slow and equal. So they become very calm, the mind becomes calm, quite deep in and deep breath of equal. There is no short breaths. The short breath disturbs the mind. The short breath indicates our anxiety and fear and tension. So, chakshushchaivantare bruha. Chakshu, our eyes should be focused in between the eyebrows, because in between the eyebrows is the Ajna Chakra, Jnana Chakshush. It is the Shiva's eye. It is the energy center. And when we focus our inner eye in between the eyebrows, we are focused. All the thoughts cease, all the energy is centered, all the consciousness is centered, and we establish the contact with the Supreme Brahman. It starts moving out. This is the beginning of the yoga. So, sparshan krutva bahirbahyan. So we have to stop the mind, the body organs, the sensory organs going out. This is the beautiful mantra of sitting in dhyan, sitting in yoga posture, shutting out all external contacts, fixing the gaze in between the eyebrows, equalizing the outgoing and incoming breaths, and moving between the nostrils. With the senses, the mind and the intellect ever controlled, having liberation as the supreme goal, free from desire, fear and anger, the sage is very liberated forever. In this dhyan, he is already liberated. When we are in dhyan, when we are in deep meditation, we have attained the state of samadhi. Yatendriya mano buddhi munir moksha parayanaha vigate chabhyadi krodo yasada mukta eva saha. So he is freed from all the phases of the mind. The mind has become calm. The mind has subsided. And with the mind and senses organ controlled, with the sense organs controlled, with the mind subsided, it has become calm and quiet, without any fear, without any anger, without any desire, without any attachment. The yogi, with the inner energy, the pranic energy, the kundalini energy focused in between the Ajna chakra, moving in the direction of the Supreme Lord upwards, he is very liberated while living itself. This is a very beautiful moment or experience. Anybody with a desire to achieve the higher has to follow. But there are conditions. It is not everybody cannot do it because there are preconditions. Meditation is required, knowledge is required, dhyana is required, yoga is required. The selfishness should go. So these are all the steps for becoming a sannyasi. A purified mind, a desireless self is hallmark of a sage. The saint and the sannyasi. The sannyasi cannot have impure mind. Impure mind means thoughts, the desire for the world of objects. The Arishad Vargas are the dirtiest, the most dangerous impurities that destroy the peace and tranquility and the happiness of a person. Arishad Vargas is lust, greed, anger, jealousy, ego, and ignorance. So these Arishadvaras, the enemies of mankind, they are the impurities. So our mind has to be pure. Our mind should be free from all desires and attachments. And the desireless self is the hallmark of a sage. We have no desire, no fear of tomorrow, no seeking of favors from anybody. The seeking of a Supreme Court judge or a chief minister or a prime minister, the seeking of even of the post of a president, it is all nonsense. For a sannyasi, these are all nothing. These are all the bondages that brings down a person from the human being level to an animal level to bend himself before the others so that his vertebra, backbone becomes parallel to the earth, resembling an animal. A person who doesn't seek anything from anybody stands erect and speaks the truth. He is the King of the kings and the Lord of the lords, and he is the devotee of the Supreme Lord, who is protected because he is not identified with the mind and body at all. He has no fear of death, nor the fear of injury, nor any anxiety or tension for the loss of his name, fame or property, because he doesn't have any. So he has his mind pacified and is free from all desires. So free from all achievements and beginnings, he is immersed in samadhi. So samadhi state, the state of choiceless awareness. This is the sannyasi, the highest state that a human being can attain and achieve, and everybody, all human beings prostrate before this sannyasi because it is verily the nature, the form of the Supreme Lord in human form. He helps others, he guides others without any selfishness. He is a he is a guidance, he is a lamp guiding the others for their welfare and their liberation. This can happen only by the grace of the Supreme Lord Sri Hari Narayana. So, sannyas is an happening. One cannot become sannyasi by effort. It is just a happening by choice. We cannot say I will take to sannyas tomorrow. Sannyas happens right now. All the bondages, all the chains fall down, untackled, unbound, they fall down, and we become free. So there are 7 steps to become sannyasi. First step is the selfishness. The sannyasi, he should abandon the selfishness. There is no sense of I or mine for the sannyasi. So this is the beginning of the knowledge. The beginning of the knowledge is the destruction of the feelings of mind, destruction of the feelings of Arishad Vargas, lust, greed, anger, ego, the sense of mind, the sense of achievements, the sense of duality. So this is first step. And without this devotion, without humility, it is not possible to abandon, not possible to attain the jnana. So knowledge is the outcome of the purity. Knowledge will come only when we do not have this Arishad Vargas, when we are free from the ego and the six enemies. And then only there is brightness in our mind. And this brightness is nothing but the glow and flow of consciousness into our mind, and our mind becomes brightened, is able to see things clearly. This is the first step. When we destroy our ego, when we destroy all the attachments, it is the beginning of knowledge. And the second step is he always wants to follow the path of truth. He wants to be in the company of the honest and the truthful. He always wants to be in the company of the selfless people, the saints. And there is harmony in what he speaks and what he does. There is no difference. There is harmony. Vangme mana pratishtati. What he thinks and what he speaks and what he does, there is perfect harmony. So this is and he develops interest in the spiritual knowledge. The spiritual knowledge is the knowledge of the spirit. The knowledge of matter, the knowledge of the world is physics, chemistry, mathematics that earns his for the transactions of the world of objects. It is meant for filling up his belly and leading a life that is necessary. And the sannyasi, person who is on the path of enlightenment, develops an enchantment for spiritual knowledge, for the Atma Jnana. And then, so he becomes, in the second step, he becomes free from all the Arishad Vargas. And when the third step of a yogi, of a sannyasi, is non-attachment. He engages, he concentrates his mind and intellect in understanding the deeper meanings, the true meanings of the scriptures of the life itself. And he likes to follow the disciplines that are required, vratas and niyamas, the disciplines, the rituals that purify the body and the mind. So purification is very much necessary. So we have to purify our body, because only a pure body, a healthy body, a strong body can support a strong and healthy mind. So the mind has to be purified, the body has to become strong, and it is not meant for weak people. Sannyas is not meant for weak people. Sannyas, it is the path of the strong and the courageous. It is the path of the very strong, healthy and courageous people, prepared to sacrifice, prepared to fight, prepared to go forward, whatever may be the difficult outer situations, outer difficulties. So in this third step, he sees the light within himself. He follows because the path of the mind is Shravan, Manan, Anushtan, Dhyan. Because the path of knowledge is, first we should hear. Knowledge does not come on its own. Just by reading any book we don't understand. It is only gathering the information. The computer and the libraries have all the information, so they do not become knowledgeable. That is only information gathering. So the path of knowledge is mindfulness. We listen to the subject with all the interest, and then we think of it. We contemplate on the subject we have, on the knowledge we have heard or we have studied. We judge whether it is right or wrong, it has got any essence, whether it has got meaning or not. Then once we find the information we have gathered that is fit to be followed, then we follow it. Just by listening, just by hearing, by reading and judging that is right, doesn't carry us anywhere. Then we have to follow it. We have to become one with that. Our actions and speech and our body organs should follow. This is called Anushtan. So we have to follow the path of truth. Walking along the path of truth is most important. Just by knowing the path of truth, it is meaningless. We see so many things from it. We see the star, but traveling to the star requires altogether a different gambit. So then we have to follow this in word and deed, the right knowledge, the path of truth, and then we have to engage ourselves in meditation. We have to sit in dhyan, because by this hearing, by this following, our mind and body gets purified, and our meditation, our dhyan becomes very easy, and then we experience this knowledge. Only when we experience the knowledge mentioned in the books or by the taught by a guru, it becomes our knowledge, because it is imbibed. It becomes ours. The knowledge that is in the book is not ours. Only when all our body organs, when the mind, the intellect, all this, the embodied self undergoes this experience with the help of this body and mind, it becomes knowledge. Otherwise it is no knowledge at all. Mere reading a book about swimming doesn't teach us swimming. Unless we jump into the water, drink water and submerge many times and come up, we do not learn swimming. So also the cycling, so also the flying. We have to undergo the experience, then only after experience it becomes our knowledge. And this knowledge gives us this passion, vairagya. It becomes non-attachments. And it is very, very difficult for the mind to practice this non-attachment, because mind sticks to anything that comes across. So we have to train the mind not to get attached to anything. So anything that is pleasurable, anything that is comfortable, the mind immediately gets attached and forgets all these things. Because mind is matter, and mind is automatically drawn towards the matter. Particularly the objects, bodies and beings which give us comfort, which gives us security, which gives us solace. All these, the mind immediately gets attached. Mind thinks itself as the God which protects us. That is the way of the mind. And because mind is only a mirror, it reflects the qualities, and mind has no intelligence. So whatever the mind commands, the organs follow. So the mind and the body, they act in unison. So we have to direct this mind towards knowledge, guiding it along the right path. So the attachment has to be broken. The nature of mind is getting attached to attachment, and we should be unattached, because the nature of the soul is non-attachment. And unless we become non-attached, we are not able to see the truth. We cannot be dispassionate. So the dispassion, vairagya, is a fundamental in attaining the sannyas. It is not possible. This is third step. Third step is non-attachment, and it is the beginning of the appearance of the light of the enlightenment. And all these things, our sadhana, our meditation, our dhyan, our vrata, our fasting, all these will help in training the mind. Our fasting and our discipline will not give us any sannyas. They only purify. They are the means of purifying the mind and the body, making the mind follow the path of truth. And it helps this when the yogi climbs the third step. When he goes to the third step, he starts getting dispassion, the vairagya, and he is able to see things clearly. That is the beginning of the light. And in the fourth state, in the fourth step, the sannyasi in the dhyan, he experiences enormous peace. He experiences tranquility and peace and attains divine knowledge. So, because he starts seeing without attachment, he starts seeing all these things with a sense of witnessing. He attains the witnessing consciousness of seeing things as from a distance, being non-attached. And when by the sense of this non-attachment, the yogi, the sannyasi, gets rid of all the worries, all the sorrows, all the tension, anxiety, because he is not attached. He is just like an onlooker, just like a bird sitting on a tree and looking at the things happening on the road downwards. So he starts looking as a witness. He develops the witnessing consciousness. He realizes, I am not the doer, I am not responsible. It is the karma, it is the divine energy that is following the path of action and cause and effect that is happening. And it is only as per the divine orders, commandings of the Supreme Lord, all these things are happening. I am not responsible for anything, I am not interested in anything, I am not losing or gaining anything, I am not interested in the outcome of the action. So this dispassion brings enormous peace and free from worry and tension. So this is the fourth step that a yogi, the sannyasi, attains. He attains the witnessing consciousness. So these are a very beautiful realization of a yogi. The knowledge comes because the yogi realizes, the sannyasi realizes that this world is nothing but the world of duality. Because the reality of life is nothing but duality, contradictions, competitions, confrontations, all sorts of things that goes on in between two people and two groups. It is the world of the polar opposites, the pleasure followed by the pain, the happiness followed by the sorrow, the richness followed by the poverty, the disease followed by the health. All things exist in polar opposites, in duality, and this world is nothing but the world of contradictions, pollutions, and world of problems. This world is a battlefield. We cannot find peace in this battlefield because the peace is verily within us. So the first thing that the yogi realizes is that the peace is only the outcome when there is no duality. So Sannyasi cannot have a family. He cannot have wife, he cannot have children, because there is a conflicting interest. This fellow becomes attached. So the first thing is he has to follow the path of truth, follow the path of non-attachment, follow the path of dispassion, and he has to attain the witnessing consciousness of looking all things in the same way. He cannot look at things, if he is having a family, he cannot look towards his family as something strangers. It is not possible. So this is the fourth step of a yogi. He develops dispassion and witnessing consciousness. And the fifth step is there is total emanation. You have joy and bliss emanating from his heart. A sannyasi is very, very joyful. This is the ultimate. What is the use of sannyasi? Is joy. A sannyasi has no sorrow. He is very, very blissful. He is joyful. He spreads joy and hope and light everywhere, wherever he goes. There is a sort of sweetness. The nectar of bliss is flowing through him. So he becomes an object of veneration. It is an automatic. There is a sense of contentment. There is a contentment of fulfillment in the heart of a sannyasi. A sannyasi cannot be disgruntled. A sannyasi cannot be serious. He cannot have a grumpy face. He cannot hurry. He has all the time for the knowledge of the Supreme Lord to spread everywhere. He has all the time to listen to the difficulties of the people. He has all the time to guide them on the path. He has all the time to share the joy and bliss that flows through him. This is the fifth state. This fifth state is the sannyasi. He is ever joyful, ever blissful, no fear, no anxiety, no tension. He is the bubbling enthusiasm. This is the state of ananda. Yatra anandascha modascha muda pramuda sute. Yatra kamasya nikamascha kutindra endro paristava. O Supreme Lord, where the people are dancing, where they are filled with joy, and where all the desires have been fulfilled, in those people of celebrations, establish me. This is the prayer of the Rishi to the Supreme Lord Sri Hari Narayana in the Rig Veda. So, the Samadhi Sthiti is the most blissful state. The fifth step of a sannyasi, of a yogi, is the total liberation, total joy, and the state of nectar flowing. And these are the most beautiful steps the sannyas takes. It is not a step of ordeals, it is not a step of difficulty. They are so simple, so easy, because one loves it. And the path of love and truth and joy is also the culmination. So, it is not possible to know the Supreme Lord at all. But everybody in the sannyasi experiences the nature of the Supreme Lord. We cannot see God, but we can experience the God within ourselves. God is not an object or a person to be identified, sitting somewhere, controlling all that. And God is not different from the world. God is verily within the every living being. He is this very universe itself. This is fundamental. A lot of people asking, is there God? Is there soul? Is there this thing, that thing? All irrelevant questions. This very universe is God. So the Vishnusahasranama starts, Vishwaya Namaha. This whole universe itself is the form of the Supreme Lord. And Jivaya Namaha, the very Jiva, the soul that is supporting us, that is making us a living entity which is in our lotus seat of the heart, is the soul Atma, is the Jiva, and when it leaves the body dead, because the body becomes inert, becomes a garbage. That self is the form of the Paramatma, that self is the soul, and that itself brings the consciousness. The soul is the confluence of vital energy, prana, and the consciousness, prajna, ability, with the ability to know things and enjoy and experience and all that. So the irrelevant questions only bring irrelevant answers. So this Vishnusahasranama is the expressions of the Supreme, is the knowledge and the supreme power and glory of the Supreme Lord. So it is not possible to know the Supreme Lord, but we can experience His powers. We cannot know the knowledge, we cannot grasp the knowledge, but the knowledge grasps the qualities, it grasps all the qualities, all the nature of the objects. So, lot of these consciousness we cannot see, but we know the conscious person. Vital force we cannot see, but we know the living person. Happiness we cannot see, but we know the happy person. Hunger we cannot see, but we know the hungry person. Sorrow we cannot see, but we know the person suffering from the sorrow and misery. So, they are all fine medium, they all need to manifest. These are all the mediums, and medium is not the thing, the tool is not the thing. So, when the yogi steps to the fifth state, his mind disappears, his mind becomes pure, mind becomes consciousness. So the disappearance of the mind is just like appearance of the clear blue sky. So the cloud of the mind disappears in the blueness, in the light of the conscious sky, in the conscious space, in the light of in this space of supreme consciousness, Paramahuman, the mind disappears. And in this state, when the mind disappears in pure consciousness, there is no rise of the phases of mind, there is no rise of desire, there is no fear, there is no anxiety, there is no tension, there is nothing. The phases of the mind all disappear, the mind becomes consciousness itself. So this is what happens in the fifth state. We will continue with these steps to become a sannyas, the qualifications, the eligibility, because they are all natural happenings. There is no training, there is no teaching, and one cannot become a sannyasi by one's choice. It is a happening, it is by the grace of the Supreme Lord, because in this fifth state, the mind has disappeared, and in the sixth state, the disappearance of the mind is the beginning of the samadhi, the most beautiful state of enlightenment. So in this sixth state of enlightenment, all the knots of the heart disappear, they fall down, and he becomes free from all the bondages, all the chains are unlocked, all the locks are unlocked, and he attains the nirvana, he attains the enlightenment, he becomes free. Then only he is a true sannyasi, he is the walking God, he is the moving consciousness, he is the moving power, and he is the sannyasi, Satnyas, the truth moving everywhere, with its power and glow, he is the sannyasi. So this is the sixth state, and In this, the seventh state is attainable only after the body also disappears. This is called Videha Mukti. So in the sixth state itself, the yogi, the sannyasi, attains supreme liberation, attains Godhood, he becomes a Swami, and he is the fountain of joy and bliss and power and knowledge. And total liberation happens in the supreme state of samadhi, when he goes into dhyan, all the knots of the body also disappear and he abandons the body, and the yogi exists purely in the form of the Atma, which is the deathless, fearless, changeless spirit. The pure Atma. The yogi becomes the pure Atma established in Samadhi. So these are all the most beautiful states of the sannyas. And there are a lot of things more interesting and more beautiful things of the happenings to a sannyasi, and we will continue it in the next session. Hari Om Tat Sat.